All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic start to your Monday morning. Welcome back here, everybody. And yeah, great to be back trading here today. Took a little bit of a we'll call it mental capital day there on Friday, right? Was honestly just pretty exhausted after Thursday's session. And just yeah, took the day off, kind of relaxed, slept, which was really really nice, and yeah, feeling really recharged here, and looking forward to what should be a pretty interesting trading week. We don't necessarily have as much uh, like chaos from like a calendar perspective here this week. It should theoretically be a little bit smoother, but it is still a pretty like heavy calendar. We're just not going to have any of those like I don't know, monster, I guess, elements, right, for us to be worried about. The main thing that we're gonna consistently be watching, right, is any Trump comment, right, any narrative maybe of like Fed dynamics changing, things along those lines. So we want to be very careful there, and obviously be a little bit patient. But let's see how things want to come together from an economic calendar perspective here today. That's going to be the catalyst, right? Just make sure that nothing too crazy is going on with Mr. Donald himself. And then, yeah, we can go from there. Would obviously expect probably some sort of algo reaction to that. And we'll keep an eye on that a little bit here as markets open. Basically, just make sure, right, that we're not getting caught offside here on anything, and then can kind of go from there. Besides that, we're effectively looking for a market that's still, yeah. I mean, like he promises to talk about one thing, Chandler, and then he'll say like, we've got so many homeless people in DC because the tariffs on Canada aren't 35%, right? Like he can't just stay on topic. So always a little bit, yeah, a little bit chaotic, right? Or just unpredictable, I think is probably the better way of describing it. And when things get unpredictable in markets, right, that tends to be scenarios where volume gets pulled effectively. So we might basically just see like that catalyst bit of price action here occur once I don't know, the fear of him saying something crazy is no longer there. So we've seen a little bit. The market wants to give us moves a little bit later on in the morning in general. I think that continues to be the catalyst that's in play. And we're looking basically just for those breakouts, right, away from some of these range bound zones. So yellow lines, right, still continue to be our zone of consolidation. Ideally, would like to see breakouts through those areas and to create new all-time highs. And if we can get that, then this for sure, right, becomes confirmed as capitulation, and that gives us our runway, right, for a pretty big move here to the upside. So yeah, let's start mapping things out here. Enough ranting and raving, and yeah, let's get after it. So Friday inside bar here. So just a day of consolidation today, right? That means that we're looking for a breakout type trade, or we're looking for that consolidation to fail in some context, right? So what that would mean would be seeing a failed breakout. If we're going to get a failed breakout, then that becomes maybe an element of like a rejection of the upper third of our resistance. But all things considered, I think we're probably still going to attempt a good breakout here this morning, and hopefully we do get some enthusiasm based off of that. From a pre-market high perspective, we're at 64.30, so Thursday's levels continue to basically be in play. That's 12 points away from where we're at currently, so probably likely that the indicator is going to take care of that level for us. But then we want to go up all the way. We've got 64.70 mapped out. We could probably map out a breakout towards 6,500. That would probably be a reasonable target for us here, maybe this week. And yeah, we'll see if we can get like a reasonable amount of enthusiasm here to sustain a big move like that. That might be the hardest thing for us to actually find here this week. Okay, to the downside. We want to see basically a fake out, right? A failed breakout. I mean, same thing that we wanted to see there from a bull case. And then we're looking probably for a move towards like 6,400. So that's going to be more the starting point here. to the downside, right? Maybe we could call it 64.10, but I think that would probably be taken care of by the indicator. So I'll go 63.90, and then Friday's low 63.70, down towards then Thursday's low 63.30. So I'll just map it out towards that area. Okay. NQ. So a little bit more of a breakout there, right? On Friday. Not necessarily a tremendous amount of volume, but a different sign of strength, right? If you want to call it that. So that would be a 2 out of 3, right, to the upside without volume. And we're looking for a breakout over 23,800, right? Or that's going to be our initial target here. And then we've got it mapped out already to 24. I mean, that's all-time highs at that point. So then we're going 24.1, 24.2. I don't know if we're going to get much more follow through than that. VIX is 15.86. So we've got less than 1% of implied range here today. So probably don't need to be too aggressive past all-time highs. To the downside here, pre-market low is 600. So I'll just fill that in, right? And then the other levels should be taken care of here. Our target, right, long term would be probably Thursday's low, right? Or sorry, Friday's low. And then eventually, right, getting down towards sort of that Thursday target. So that would get us basically catching this chunk of the move, which would be fantastic. We can come together. And then again, probably want to just map out that like consolidation zone, right? We've been talking about a little bit here. I'll make those lines yellow just to keep it consistent. And then, yeah, hopefully we get a nice little pop. Okay, CL. So I've got some mixed feelings about CL here so far this summer. It's kind of been pointless to trade a little bit. Like, it's not really moving or like any sustained amount of trending price action. It effectively was compressed inside that June 24th candle for like 45 days. I don't know, seems kind of like a little bit crazy. You know, maybe now we're getting like a little bit of separation away from it, a little bit of a fake out, maybe a possible reversal. Like the range bound trade maybe becomes a little bit more interesting versus like all this muck that we had there in the middle. Futures roll is going to be on Monday. So we do have kind of like a tradable week here. This could be an opportunity. Kind of a bullshit trend line, but I almost see it like this or like this. Like, I think that those are probably your two arguments, right, for that bullish support here if we're going to be playing that reversal thesis. So we'll call this 3 for 3 here to the upside. To the downside, we're going to continue to have a narrative, but it'll be if we can crack through that trend line support, right? So we'll call that breakdown under 62.75. So what that means, right, is that there's no bearish setup here in play until we're under, right, 62.75. So if I get a rejection thesis here, right, at 64 bucks, tough shit. I can't trade it, right? I'm going to have to wait until it gives me that breakdown of the trend line support. Otherwise, right, we are looking for a little bit of a continuation pattern, especially above that 64.50 area. And then we're saying we're at 64.22. So I'll probably just say 65 on the dot, right? And then we're going up all the way to sort of that next trend line, which we'll call it towards 68. So 65, 65.50, 66, 66.50. And the thing to remember here, we talked about this a little bit last week, is that we had to be mapping down towards like 5% moves, right? Where if we got a larger move than 5% here on CL, that would basically limit our ability to trade it. We don't have those same limits here to the upside, so we can be a little bit more aggressive with our profit targets. There's no circuit breaker rules for significant breakouts. Once we're under that 62.75, I guess we're just going down, right? 62, 61.50 down to like $60. Don't need to be hyper aggressive here. That move probably seems like it's a little bit more likely a little bit later in the week. A little bit later in the week, right? And it should give me an opportunity to just basically save myself a bit of prep time, right? On Wednesday or something. All right, Apple actually finally to show some momentum here recently, right? 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume. Tesla 3 for 3. Microsoft inside bar. So far, so good internals. Amazon inside bar. NVIDIA inside bar. So a lot of consolidation there. AMD higher high, higher low. Decreasing volume red candle. So we're going to call this a 2 out of 3 week, 2 out of 3 without volume. Okay, met a little fake out lower on a very decreasing volume profile. This is starting to look a little bit like maybe a flag or like a wedge pattern, with now the gap up, right, acting as your flagpole. So you'd be looking for 775, and we'll say this is technically a 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, which can say bull flag. Okay, and then Netflix here, 3 for 3 to the upside, doesn't need to change. And then Google, 2 out of 3 to the upside with volume. Probably want to just see that 200 continue to act as support, or that sort of like range. I would say like this, right in between that little box there would be your support zone that you're kind of craving. And then the old VIX hanging out 15.87. So implied range here today, about 1% or so. So let's see how things come together. We haven't necessarily had too many of those 1% days to the upside, at least not for a while, right? A little bit over a month. So curious to see where momentum shows up here today. It would be fantastic to get a breakout towards that all-time high barrier. And yeah, if we can get through there, then hopefully it's some good memories. Last time we got back to all-time highs, we were kind of in this area. Price action was kind of frothy, not super enthusiastic, right? It wasn't necessarily very fun to trade. So curious to see if we can get a little bit of a different reaction here, right? Now, it's a little bit of a big ask to try to think too much about those specifics, but what we're looking for here to a certain extent is we want to see like a little bit of a different theme or a different reaction to like the general enthusiasm we've seen here so far this summer, right? This summer has been a market where we get rewarded for taking our singles instead of like swinging for home runs. And we want to start to see like decent follow through come together to indicate enough of a personality change from a market dynamics perspective to anticipate sustained follow through and like pretty good market conditions. We're getting into an environment where we're maybe slipping away a little bit from tariff-based headlines into interest rate decision-based headlines, or like Federal Reserve kind of topics in general. And that creates a different type of volatility, I think, or a little bit more of like a it's like volatility with better frameworks, because there's a lot of rules and restrictions and limitations on Federal Reserve stuff already. And so at least that type of volatility would be like a little bit more predictable, right, than just a post on Truth Social. So let's see how day comes together, and hopefully we can get ourselves a pretty nice session. So far, pretty bouncy. Might be getting that little pattern to back test here again. Again, would just be a straight up paper trade here, guys. This is still something I'm testing. I do realize that there is a issue with the indicator. Someone posted that the indicator is not published. Yeah, someone tried to do something kind of greasy with it. So TradingView has paused the publication while they investigate. So bear with me. I'm trying to get that fixed as fast as I can. But I'm not, yeah, I'm not much I can do besides just waiting for a response back. All right, one sec here, guys. Just gotta grab my laptop. Yeah. So it's not that the indicator isn't working. It's just that the published link to it has been removed. So they basically removed the published version. So like you can't access it if you don't already have it. Like if you click the link that I posted in the indicator tab, it's like a 404 page. All right, so we're gonna be watching here, right? First initial attempt at breakouts. Obviously, TradingView wants to be slow here today. That's a classic. Yeah, I appreciate that, Kyle. Okay, so probably not going to get an increasing volume profile here on there's there finding loads. On our tickers here. Oh man, this thing is slow today. Everyone else is trading view. This kind of pathetic here today. It's slow, right? I can't be the only one. Okay, fair. I mean, it's working fine. It's just slow, which is the most annoying. Okay, so a little bit of a fake out there on the 3. Not a huge range. So on this paper trade, right, it would look something like this. So if it touches 712, I'm just going to write it down on my piece of paper. Again, guys, right? This is just something I'm testing. It's just showing you kind of the process there briefly. I'm not putting any real money behind this here yet. I mean, just looking at the number, right? Like last week, right? We saw ranges. Look at the different, like it tells you the number, right? So you can just compare to previous ranges and okay, is it bigger? Is it larger? Guys, you guys need to stop refreshing the P&L spreadsheet in the middle of the day, guys. Come on. Or like requesting to edit it, guys. Come on. So you're literally just looking at that number. Okay, here's the last week. It's on the smaller range, right? Or smaller end. Like I would say that in general, right? Because I was thinking a little bit if there's like a rule there. I don't know if I necessarily have a rule on what a small range is, but like I think contextualizing it right would be if like the opening range or an expansion of the opening range doesn't give you a one handle move, then that probably would be something that would be quite like limited volatility. So like one handle on ES is 15 points. That means like if you have a range that's less than 7.5 points, right? That's pretty small. On NQ, a handle is 65 points. So if you have something that's like, 33 or 32.5 points and or less, right, then that's a pretty small range. Like if your expanded volatility isn't even a one handle move, I think that would be a pretty good indication, right, of it being, yeah, kind of pathetic. Yeah, for now, kind of just waiting to see if price action wants to take like a little bit of a direction, right? Or at least a path of least resistance. We've kind of gotten that fake out lower, which in my opinion probably sets us up for a fake out higher, fake out lower, right? And then like shake out weakness and then create a move. That kind of appears to be how markets seem to be behaving. Or at least like that's been a little bit of a pattern here recently. ES would have to be targeting 410, right? We've seen that fake out move lower. So we're targeting a 4-point move here on the 3-min time frame. It's not worth it, right? We can't get the position sizing we want. We need to have to keep our risk to be under 1 point to be able to justify basically getting an entry here, which based on the ranges of these candles, it's going to be next to impossible, right? So we're already exceeding that. And so from like an aggressive entry perspective would not be justifiable. And we're possibly still looking for that fake out higher first. Not really seeing price action establish itself in any interesting way here. Okay, so this is our chance here for some breakouts. And on paper, right, this would have just stopped me out. So writing that down. Again, that's why I'm testing this, right? Not why I'm being hyper aggressive here. We got a minute to go. We would like to see like a clean pop here, right? From a volume perspective. We should get to increasing. Like that shouldn't necessarily be a concern. And now we want to see it hold above, right? Otherwise, this just looks equal move lower, equal move higher. Which is probably the last thing I would like to see considered. And NQ definitely more tradable than ES simply just because of the range size, right? ES 5-point range, less than 5 points. NQ at least were a little bit more reasonable. Not great. So 3-man couldn't close and hold above the opening range. So no actual active setup trigger. So it doesn't matter, right? That confirmation from a volume perspective is there. So we kind of are back to the drawing board after that one, unfortunately. Kind of the worst close you wanted to have seen. From CL, we're getting a good breakdown here under the opening range, but I only want to be bearish on moves under 62.75, right? So it needs to crack through this trend line here, or it needs to get under basically this bullish support. That's the only way for me to invalidate those bullish conditions that we established there. So I need to be a little bit more patient on crude, trying to really use those pre-market conditions, right, to help me avoid trades where it's easy or the expectation or the probabilities are stacked up against me. Yeah, so far so slow. First 13 minutes or 16 minutes, sorry. Um, honestly, Deb, I don't know how to answer that question. Um, every year I trade is a year I get older, so I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I think um never having stress or never having adversity or never having any challenges to go through would make things boring, right? If it was just cruising by every single day was easy, every single day there wasn't like a little test. Yeah, still nothing really of particular interest here. Like I think just still thinking about that stress comment a little bit. Like I think that the reason why we feel stressed when trading or we feel stressed with the market or whatever is because we set kind of like expectations for ourselves, right? Or we hold ourselves to a certain standard, or we want something for ourselves, or we want whatever, right? And so there's always a level of anxiety on pushing towards those new benchmarks or those new targets. So, I think if you were going to be pursuing any high performance field, you would be feeling those same sensations and those same things. We're just using the market in this context, right, to basically gamify that. I think if I was supposed to be a lawyer, right, that was what I trained in school for. And I think I would have, as a competitive person, as someone who, thinks that, hey, I should be doing a good job at everything, you're going to find things to get stressed out about, and that's going to age you too. So, um, yeah, I don't think you can avoid it. I think you got to learn how to manage it and how to mitigate it. And yeah, I mean that's like pretty much the number one reason why I exercise, and clearly don't exercise enough. Really much more feeling like that fake out higher, fake out lower kind of pattern we've seen, or equal move higher, equal move lower. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, like it's not a perfect system. Like on Wednesday, I did a really, really long run, like 2 hours, just blasting away. And then Thursday, it was like the most stressed I was all week. So, it's the way it goes sometimes. Kind of interesting that ES is significantly weaker than NQ is. That divergence is a little bit concerning, right? And it's concerning because it indicates chop more so than smooth price action, right? So if we're looking at things a little bit here, we're seeing kind of a failed breakout, failed breakdown, maybe some consolidation above this area. But we're not getting like a tremendous amount of, we'll call it cooperation to like really trust that this thing is going to pop or pop significantly. Only 952 or 652, so still early. This feels like it's coiling for something. Oh, I saw something really interesting here today. Let's see if I can find it. Rusty, I don't know if you're here, but it made me think of you. And you'll know why in a second. Okay, and Q looking like a rejection a little bit, not outlier volume. Yes, breaking down, not through the low, and again, not on outlier volume, so still need to be chill. Hmm. Might take me a little bit longer to find it, but effectively, what it was a prop firm that allows swing trading with futures. So it would allow you to hold positions overnight. The reason I said it reminds me of Rusty, when there used to be prop firms that would allow you to trade equities, we were doing that a little bit. And Rusty was like swing trading Microsoft with prop firms for like 40K a month. Um, so there might be some opportunities for us to gamify some moves like that here pretty soon, especially if we're gonna see a lot of overnight action. That's a funny one. Diamond hands. Okay, again, we would like to see it break out above 38 probably here, right? Just like above previous high a day. If it wants to continue to hesitate there, right, then yeah, we're waiting for something, for some level of enthusiasm, some sort of indication of momentum, some sort of whatever you want to call it. So let's wait. I mean, 10 a.m. could be a little bit of something something. You know, maybe the better way of describing this, the price action is it's almost like it's a little bit bipolar. In I should say bipolar, it's probably the right term. It's got uh I don't know, maybe. It's got a little bit of that like Harvey Two-Face from Batman personality, right? It's got like its reaction at 8:30 and then it has its reaction at 10. It's almost like if you get a muted reaction right at 8:30, then you kind of get a little bit of one at 10 a.m. If you get a big reaction at 8:30, then you pretty much get nothing at 10. There's a little bit of like a little bit of Two-Face, like a little bit of a Two-Face nature to it a little bit. Not great volume on the 3. Yeah, I know we've been waiting for that for a while here. Hmm. I don't think that's even going to give me increasing volume, so it doesn't really matter. CL kind of done fuck all too. So we're still waiting for now. Not a tremendous amount that we need to change right now. I think the 10 would have gone increasing. Yeah. Just kind of watching, right? As is previous high of day acting as support so far, yeah. Which would maybe give me an opportunity for like the separation away from the range type thesis. Now I might have just jinxed it. A CL with at least with some decent volume here. Maybe you could argue like it's a little bit of a wedge reversal, right? There's your upper trend line, 3 points of contact. It's gonna be pretty impressive volume if you can get above maybe 25. Yeah, as close to 30 as possible, really. And then you can play that kind of reversal move, right, for a breakout towards our 2R target. I mean, I think my mic is working fine here, Jared. I don't appear to have any tech issues. I don't have any tech issues on my end. Okay, so that's not bad on CL there. That's for sure the most interesting. So this is gonna be what I'm focusing on here, guys. I can't really offer much more tech support than that. So for now, we're still looking at the pullback technique. If I was to go pullback, I'd prefer stop loss to just be low of day. So ideal entry here would be using the aggressive, which would place my stop loss, we'll say 64.28. And then reference price here would be 31. So 3 points of risk is a very tight position. So stop here would be 28. Ah, motherfucker. Okay, we'll see if this thing can maybe slow down for us here on the 5. Just missed that. I was maybe a little bit I don't know, talk myself out of the 3 point stop loss maybe a little bit too easily there. But if it's strong, it'll give me more than one chance to enter. Seems like it's going to be setting back up on the 5. Yeah, no, I don't think it really gave me ever a realistic pullback. So that would have been $30 a contract, right? So what's 30 times 12? You know, be kind of looking at that, right? Okay, so let's see where it establishes itself here. You'd be looking 64.38. But truth be told, like Simone, the breakout happened so fast that I didn't even have time to set up my position sizing. But CL, right? It moves $10 a cent. So divide that by or multiply that by your stop loss, and then divide that by 500, right? Or whatever your max loss number is. I'd probably go like 37 stop loss here, just a little extra penny below. And this hasn't quite established itself with a entry right around that 41. So at that point, right, you're risking 4 cents, so $40 a contract. I'd be looking at probably 10 contracts here. Okay. So watching. Okay, guys, I'm in. Average price 64.40, 64.40, 10 units. And the contract in the unit is the same thing. Spreads got to cross, guys. Spreads got to cross. Trading view broken? What's going on here? Okay, there we go. Just took the stop. What do you mean entry delay, Willard? What do you mean? Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, the weird thing that I've been seeing with my trading view is I was seeing basically it working fine on this screen, and then I have one just directly to the right, and that price wasn't ticking, which is weird. I don't think I've noticed necessarily any execution delays, but when price was like 638 on one screen, I had like 635 on this one, and there was like a 3-4 cent gap, which is pretty weird. Really nice little structure breakout. Come on. So setup here, right, is a breakout through or above high of day. Trying to see if we can get a volume standard here that's respectable. Not right on the cusp. So now we'd be looking at something like this, right? On NQ here, but give yourself time. See if it can find support. Probably don't want to see it pulling back much more than that like 48 type zone. And don't want to see it pulling back too much more than that. $56 to $43, still pretty reasonable. Only 13 points. It's still, you know, within kind of like that 2 contract range. Five min might give me the same setup here. Again, like to see it hold above previous high of day. Uh, mm, I think that this just set up the fake out entry. 740 would have to be the stop. Yep. Hey guys, I'm in 746.50, stop loss 740, 2 contracts. Oh, fuck me. Hey, don't like that rejection. Hey guys, I have just closed this trade. Here. Exit price 748. I didn't like that rejection. I'm going to potentially try again here on a re-entry, but I didn't like the move above my entry price, reject back below, and then kind of like a pathetic recovery. So that's telling me, right, that my idea might be a little bit early or that it might be wrong. So I got out, right? I'm not going down with the ship here. I will potentially try this again if it sets back up. on that fake out entry logic, right? If I'm not green right away and get that big relief right away, I have to get out, because then it's saying that the fake out didn't really trap the other side, right? So, okay, made back 120 bucks there. Whoa, would have stopped us out first, guys. Would have stopped us out first, right? Don't pretend you would have traded this. This went down under 740, right? So for sure was the right call. This did cross the spread. We would have been stopped there right before that big rally. So all we're looking here, right, for a nice potential breakout. See if we can get some confirmation. But I think our analysis was correct, right? Reaction maybe told us we were a little bit early. Seems like that second fake out ended up being the better one. We're still back in business though here, right? Reference price on the aggressive would be a 761. Let's see where it finds support here. Again, we'd like to see, you know, previous milestones hold up pretty well and allow me to get decent position sizing here. Now we could still use the pullback entry technique, which would go stop loss, you know, just below that fake out price. So 739.75. I would prefer the aggressive personally. And so we'd be looking 753-ish as a stop here. Really don't like how they changed up the trading view order window. Okay. It's just ruined my muscle memory I've had with it. So watching here, guys, watching. Get a fill. Oh, that hurts. Tried to get a fill at 59.75 was the price, and it just missed. Yeah, honestly, I don't care about the pre-market levels. They mean nothing to me. Like, it's not to say that they don't work or anything along those lines, right? But it's not a part of my analysis or my process or my back test in any of my scenarios, right? So for me to now add that into what my strategy is already it's unnecessary information. Again, this thing might give me another chance here. Definitely a little bit too fast here so far. Let's see if we find support. And again, guys, right? If you miss an order, so say you have an order that doesn't get filled, please get into the habit, right, of then going into your order history and canceling that hanging order. You don't want to be filled by accident or without you kind of being aware. That becomes a very, very dangerous thing to leave hanging, right? Because something will pull back, all of a sudden you'll lose whatever, and very rarely does a hanging order lead to a, we'll call it profitable winning trade. Yeah, well, all things considered, we haven't missed out on too much here of that move. Went to 66. Okay, back in business here now. Come on, gentle, gentle, gentle. And the reason why this candle doesn't scare me here, team, right, is it's higher high, higher low, decreasing volume. Like it's weak bears. It's not strong bears. They look scary, but they don't have much bite here by all the other bits of information. Okay, this is where I'm watching here now. Be patient, right? Be patient. Be patient. Hey guys, I am in average price 757.75. Stop loss 753, 3 contracts. Come on. Oh. Oh, is that surviving a worst case scenario? There we go. Okay, I got stopped. Yeah, so that's not the stop loss price, right? Stop loss price was 753, not 753.25. And that's why I talk about using that spread technique, right? Of adding the spread to your trade. So you actually get stopped out at the price that you expect. Because I don't want to get stopped out at 753.25. I want to get stopped out at 753. That was my stop loss. Hey, Rusty, how you doing? Yes, not looking probably the way that I want. CL, maybe a little bit of a reversal setup here. Really good volume. 86 to 92 or to 80. That's pretty interesting. It'd look like that. Like I lost 240 bucks on that trade. Pretty good risk to take in my opinion. Of course, obviously now above what would have been entry price. The annoying thing that seems to be happening a lot here today, they give you like a really quick, exaggerated move, and then it stalls. Kind of like the most annoying way for price action to behave. Stop loss, yeah, a little bit unlucky there. So if it was, something like this, you're in good shape. Didn't quite that though. Again, just no. I'm really tempted to try, yeah, on like the pullback into the trend line, like something like that. Now, I'd like to see a little bit of a deeper pullback here on price, maybe into like that sort of area. But I would like this a lot. So just super clear here, guys, right? Just so we understand. When I'm setting my order or when I'm setting up my entry execution, I have a video on this right in the Discord, so you all should have watched this by now. But when I set my stop loss price, right, it'll be here, say 739.25, right? I am adding the spread to my stop loss. So easy to visualize this here. Hard to bring up just a paper trader, right? You see how there's a sell price and how there's a buy price and how that price isn't exactly the same. Well, if I'm getting out of a trade, right, I want to be getting out when the appropriate side crosses. So not when the buy is at a price or not when a seller is at a certain price, but when it's appropriate, right? So if you set a market order, it's just going to go with the first time it touches it. So you need to account for the spread to make sure they're actually getting executed at the price that you expect, not at some random whatever fugazi price. Because if I'm not getting executions right at the price that I'm planning or that I'm expecting, and I'm not going to be able to reliably execute my trade. So you have to account for the spread, right? If that's the technique that you want to do. If your objective is to get stopped out at 753 and you got stopped out at 753.25 or a different number, you made an operational mistake, right? You didn't get stopped out at the price that you wanted. That's not a good outcome. Watch the video, but this example is very, very simple. It's okay. Price needs to be say 50 right now. Well, the spread is 2 ticks, right? So the spread is when it's 750, it's 7 50 right on the bid. So if I know that the spread is 2 cents and I want to get filled when the buy price, right, is 750 or the sell price is 750, then I know that I need to make sure that I'm doing it once the spread crosses. You just add that number to your stop loss, right? So in this circumstance, if I was going long, right, and my stop loss here needs to be 739.25, or that's the price I want to get filled at, then I'm setting it 2 ticks under to make sure that that's the price I'm getting. So my stop loss price would then be 738.75. Right? That's the number I'm filling in if I'm wanting to get executed at this price. Right? So I would get stopped out at 739.25, but the mechanic will only trigger, right, once the spread crosses. Because there's a video on this. I've ranted and raved about the techniques to avoid getting faked out multiple times. Like, it's all there for you. I do that on every single trade. So like it should not be a surprise and it should not be confusing. My job as a trader is to execute at the prices I think I'm executing at, right? Because I'm very curious here still. Right, I'm buying that dip buy with like a 739, right? Stop loss. So again, I'll just go 738.50, right? Rounding it down to this number, adding the 2 ticks on my entry, like my stop loss price, right? I'm sizing my risk based on that 738.50. Yes, I am looking at a trade here, Bacon. Got to pay attention here, man. I'm not sure how else to make it more obvious. Like my advice here, right? Don't ask me if we're going to be doing a trade as I'm looking for my entry because I'm going to miss my trade, right? So you got to pay attention beforehand because it's not fair. Okay, so watching here pretty carefully, pretty closely. Want to buy an overreaction here. Hey, sweet guys, I'm in 745. 745 on the dot, 3 units. Hey, beautiful. A little bit of a less appealing reaction there. Don't like that it stalled out a little bit at that 750. See if it's got a little bit of juice in it still here. Come on, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Okay, see if it's got the legs here, team. See if it's got the legs. Really good shape, though. Really good shape. Come on, give me one more decent size pop, and then I can look to just get out. All right, time to get out. Everyone get out of this trade. Yes, please. Yes. Everyone out of this. I think I made that very clear, right? There should be no ambiguity there. Yeah. All right. Again, guys, right? No going down with the ship, right? No going down with the ship. If the trade gives us like enthusiasm and then that move immediately fails right after, not a strong trade, right? And market miner, you should be getting out before that's a small loss because we said it's time to cut it at 752, 753. So letting that turn into a loss is a very bad decision. I don't like that at all. No reason to. Right? Should have walked away between, say, 200 and 300. Looks fine on the 5. I don't know. It looks exactly the same as it does on the 3. Like this candle is still acting as our support candle, right? So no problem. And that's it, Kiki, right? You're making it easy for yourself to be green. Like that's it. Yeah. Honestly, guys, market's not reacting to it, right? So I don't care. Like I don't care ever about news, right? It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care what someone says. I don't care what someone does. All I care is the reaction or like what the market cares about that event, right? I care about the reaction to it, not the event itself. So for me, it doesn't matter what Trump says, doesn't matter when he says it, doesn't matter yada yada yada. I don't have any of those things back tested. It'd be impossible to do that. So everything in my strategy is just independent, right, of news events, independent of those variables. It's just price, volume, set of triggers. Everything else is a distraction. It's a smart sounding reason to not follow your system. So it's just not, no reason to give any like brain power to it. And so if the market isn't reacting or it doesn't care, then I don't care, right? Pretty simple. If the market's telling me that there's some craziness, okay, now I got to figure out what it's reacting to and then can go from there. But those are like rare, crazy outlier scenarios. Like if you try hard enough, you could find always a reason to take a trade and you can always find a reason to not take a trade. We don't want to be in that position, right? We just want to be in a position where we're just following our rules, sticking to our technique, building muscle memory, being consistent. We don't need to complicate it more than that. So again, you still kind of have that trend line thesis here still in play. Like our idea has not been wrong, or just timing hasn't been perfect. You get out, small win, you try again, right? And you see if you can get a better entry, better timing. Planning out. So it'd be very similar thing here. Watch this. This seems like it could be an opportunity where it wants to fake out a little bit. We're unlikely to get enough volume here to reverse course, right? Or to at least be a tradable reversal. Volume is pretty light, so it does look a little bit like a fake out. So 737.50, right? If I want to get executed at 737.50, then I need to set my price to be plus the spread. Right? So my stop loss price I want to get filled at is this. So I would set my order to be 737. And then Q, I can maybe play this to the downside here on the 3. Target would have to be low of day. Can't really be more aggressive than that. Stop loss would have to be 734. Your reference price would be, in that range there. Short this time, guys. Short this time. Again, I'm not chasing this, right? If this wants to make me chase it, probably isn't a trade I need to take. And then I can just wait for this on the 5-min, right? I would like to see it be a controlled move, be deliberate. I don't need to rush anything. Every time I rush my trades, I tend to lose money or build stress. Okay, too fast, right? Like it pretended as if that blue line just was not there. Much better though. So now we're looking stop loss. 735, right, is what you put down. And this pullback too fast, so be patient. Now looking like a reversal. So if that's going to be the case here, right? Now we're looking for a potential move. And now you're looking like this. All right, let's see how this thing goes. Kind of debating going to like 800 here as my target. Pretty good rejection reversal combo. $12 of risk. All I'm asking myself with my profit target, right, is that number realistic or reasonable? I'd say yes in this context. Pretty reasonable. Yeah, so now it'd be like that. Hey guys, I am in long 740.50, 740.50. Stop loss 735. I might be micromanaging this in a second. I don't love the way my entry has felt. Got a rally here, got a rally here. 740.50 was my entry, right? 740.50. I will write it out in a second. I'm just trying to manage this for a moment. It might require a decision in a second here. Okay, yeah, I got stopped. And I might want to try again here on the little fake out thesis. That'd be a 733 stop this time. It's a little bit of a shake and fake. So the way you'd want to do this, right, is fake out lower. Once it makes the fake out lower, set that as your stop loss price. And then either green right away, right, or red right away. Either way, you're cutting it very quick, right? If that's the way it behaves. So there's that new low. I don't know if that little bounce back was like actually that enthusiastic there. You say that the fake out thesis is the move. I don't think it is. Based on that little 5 seconds. It feels like the pullback could still come deeper. There we go. That's finally a decent pop. That's like our first sign of life here. Again, little fake out thesis could be in play. You'd like to see a fake out lower first. See them fail, right? No, Pico, you know, if I was in a trade, I'd write it out on my screen, right? I'm not in a trade right now. I'm also pretty much always talking when I'm in a position, right? This is our reversal candle, right? It's fine support off of the opening range. And we're just looking at this as like a spot where a fake out would find support. So again, you should know our setup or our systems by now, right? Here's your high vol breakout separating away from the opening range. After a pretty low vol pullback, here's your setup. We're just trying to find a way to contextualize an entry, right? Hey, so that's it, guys, right? Entry 730.50. Stop loss here, right? 726. Come on. Trying to see if we can get a decent little pop here. Keep stalling though at that 30. So I feel like a little bit of a chased entry, maybe. Like why I'm trying to slow down my thinking a little bit. Seven thirty 50, 730.50. And starting to move a little bit. I don't trust it. Hey guys, I'm out of this trade, guys. I am out of this trade. I am out. Very clear, right? Lost trust in it, trying to potentially reset. They gave me that quick move to like 34 and then died. So don't want anything to do with that, right? That's not a good reaction. So again, just a lot of little paper cuts higher, little paper cuts lower, little paper cuts higher, little paper cuts lower. Again, good decision. That would have just stopped me out for sure. Well, all we're trying to do here, right, Eric, is we're looking as price action fakes out, it's bouncing off of the fake out and then making new highs. So we're just keeping our risk really, really tight because we're either going to be right away or going to be wrong right away. And we're going to be risking like $100. So when things get choppy, it actually makes more sense to actually force yourself to lose small and go like decent position sizing than it does to widen your stop loss and like think that you're going to become fake out proof. The best way to become fake out proof is to give yourself more cracks at the apple effectively, right? So we keep that risk, 2 or 3 points, 5 points, 6 points. I can take 3 or 4 attempts at it, right? While keeping my risk to be less than $500 across all of them combined. And that's how I maximize probabilities there. So even though this would have now been nicely green, would have been stopped out before it ran. So again, just reset, right? Be partial. But once that move fails, right, you got to get out because this would have stopped you out. This would have got down 723. Top loss was a cross of 726. And sweet, $75. A lot of work for $75. But again, guys, right? Committing to not going down with the ship, like to not letting a trade that you know is going to be a loss turn into a loss. That's how you make a lot more money long term, right? And like that's the muscle I want to like I need to work out a bit more, if that makes sense. Like the ability to take egoless trades. What I mean by egoless, right, is that you're getting out based on the reaction of price action, not your expectation of what you want to happen. But detaching your ego from your win rate actually can make you a lot more money, especially when things get choppy like this. I'm probably what 50-50 here today. Something like that. But it's just small in either direction. And that's a great place to be because you're constantly one trade away from all-time highs in the portfolio. And that's all you can ask for as a trader, right? If you're constantly putting yourself in that situation, you're going to make a lot of money. Ooh, just decreasing there. I could go, that's probably a little bit too much. Yeah, that was probably the fake out entry there, right there. Maybe a little bit of a complicated one. 78 to 83, 5 cents a risk. It's not terrible on CL. Here's your trend line. Well, it depends on what the order rejection is, right? What's a rejection mean? Rejection means it doesn't want you, right? What does it mean when a girl rejects you? Well, she says no. So an order rejection is your order didn't get filled. And then it will tell you if you look in your order messages or you look into your order history, it'll tell you what the rejection code was, and then you can go from there. So an order rejection means you didn't get filled, right? That's what I'm saying, man. You got to check your order messages and your order history. I don't know why you didn't get filled. I'm not the exchange. I can't help there. You got to look at your own order history. Like I said, right? Check the message over why it rejected, and it'll tell you why. But I have no information on that. Then there's too many possible reasons why your order could have rejected. Maybe you didn't have margin. Maybe you were sending your price too far away. Maybe the price didn't whatever. I don't fucking know. Like if you take a trade, right? I'm just going to do paper trade here, do an extreme example. Right? And it gives me a rejection reason, and then it gives me this message, right? Not enough funds to complete the order. The required margin exceeds your available funds. So I can't see this message. Only you can see this message, right? Not my problem then. Like I can't. No one can help you then, right? In hindsight, you can just go into your order history and look at the rejection. Guys, we got to understand how TradingView works. It's not complicated. Rejected. Why? Like there is a tab there, right? And then you can figure out your reason. Like the other element, like guys, if you're gonna ask me a question, no problem answering questions, right? I actually do enjoy it. But when the question's like my order rejected and there's no like, here's the price I said, here's the position sizing, here's the order type I said, here's the platform I used, and you're just like talking at me, I can't really do anything with that information, right? Oh, being specific, being deliberate, right? Actually using the tools we have to get our information will get you your question solved and will likely solve it for yourself in that investigation period. I feel like there's just not enough information there to do anything with that. Again, you know, kind of seems like that fake out still sustains. Here's our still our confirmation, right? Continues to be effectively what's still driving markets, or like the liquidity that seems to be pulling markets. You'd want it to look like this, right? Something like that. And give me some volume would be great. So for now, we'd be looking for the pullback. On the pullback, you'd probably be looking to move into 38. Right, which might be a little bit more challenging. I'd prefer the aggressive. I usually always do. You'd be looking at a 47.50. Where you find support? I mean, this might end up being a 38. 28 stop, right? Oh, that was a good little pullback. Okay, so you're looking at 742 stop now. Right, and looking for a gentle pullback here. Hey guys, I am in long 747.50. 747.50. Come on. $747.50. Yeah, I've got 3 contracts here. Probably could have gone 4, but I'm trying to keep it tight. I don't like that little rejection there. All right, there we go. I took the stop there. Yeah, go through the Start Here channel, John. All the information you need for that is there. I'm not going to be talking about that right now, and I'm still looking at trades. But I'm trading 150K accounts. My max risk per trade is $500. And I still think this could potentially be in play, but it just might require a little bit of a greasier entry. Again, this might be setting up for the little fake out entry. That's been the pretty much move all day. So let's see if it happens here. Yeah, again, Patrick, right? I would recommend going through the Start Here channel and using the resources that are available to you. In general, I trade the morning momentum, right? So that's maybe sometimes 90 minutes, sometimes that's 2 hours, sometimes that's longer. As long as I still see volume and I think that there's tradable opportunities, I'm going to keep trading. But the general theme team that I am seeing here pretty much across the board is a lot of people are turning non-time sensitive questions into time sensitive questions. So when we're looking at trades, we're looking at possible opportunities, we're looking for potential setups, people are asking too many questions that get answered in just doing 15 minutes of work before you join the live stream. And that's something you only have to do once, right? And so I'll be very honest, like it's pretty disrespectful of everyone's time who is in here because we're trying to make money, and the people who are serious and motivated, they do their homework, they do their preparation, they go through their instructions. The only way to do it, if you're asking me to help you catch up your information when I'm looking for my trade or I'm looking for my entry, that's super unfair to me because now I have to not focus on making me money and helping everyone else here be profitable. But now I got to help catch up your knowledge level so that you can chase something that you didn't understand in the first place. And so, from a philosophical perspective, that for me is the complete opposite of how I want to be educating people and teaching them the structure of the program. And so it is, yeah, in my opinion, extremely insulting for people to not do their preparation or to do the boring basics, because it just tells me that you simply don't care. So the first channel in the Discord is called Start Here for a reason. Not quite sure how to make that more obvious. And then there's another channel called FAQ. Again, not sure how to make that more obvious. Not to say that I'm Kobe Bryant, right? That's not the reality. But if you ever read his book, Mamba Mentality, he talked about why he valued practice so much and why he would always show up to practice so early and put in all his work. And he said the reason why he did it is that when he would get into game situations, he could see the other guys who were there working and he knew who he could trust to pass the ball to. If you were showing up late to practice, you were doing whatever with Kobe Bryant, he wouldn't pass you the ball, right? He wouldn't give you a chance to lose the game for him effectively, right? For me, trading is the same. This game is too competitive, too intense, requires too much of our best for us to think that someone else can bail us out. Like just in general here, team, right? The social contract that we kind of sign is really basic. I'm gonna be as transparent, as honest, right? Like as basically stream of consciousness as I can be in here, so that as we're getting new information, we're able to adapt to that, learn from that, and hopefully profit off of that. Your end of the bargain, right? So contract requires two parties to it, not just one. That you're gonna show up prepared, eager to learn. That's it. It only works, right, if that's the case. So again, right, for CL, I'm only interested in downside moves once we break down under 62.75. So not interested in that. If anything, right, I'd be looking for a continuation higher after this, right? So, A, no reason to be looking for bearish setups. B, your confirmation here is to the upside, not to the downside, right? The main problem here with CL to the upside, right, has basically just been a position sizing thing. Like if I were to trade this, the aggressive technique on the five, no real chance for me to be able to pull that off. For me to get a pullback here, I would need it like within 10 cents of 77, right? Which would be a huge pullback for me to chase. So I'm effectively trying to see if I can get like a tighter risk reward here to basically justify the aggressive entry technique. But there's still enough volatility out there to be willing to trade, or there's enough volume. Like I'm not going very long between outlier volume candles. Same thing even on an NQ, right? We've got a pretty good little standard there. We continue to basically just be in business. It's kind of stupid, but yeah, I'd be kind of looking at something like that. And watching. Really as close probably to that green box as possible is kind of what I'd be looking for here. If it's going to give me the pullback, if it's going to go aggressive, then that's a different story here all of a sudden. Now we're looking at like a 33 to 40. Okay, so again, watching here. Hey, I'm in at 740.50, 740.50. Stop loss 733, 3 contracts. I'd love to just get some immediate follow through here, which I don't feel like I'm getting. Oh, this has gotta be the moment, but I think I can get a better entry. Hey guys, I am out at exit or at entry price. Sorry, I am out at entry price. Once I felt like I could get a better entry, I needed to get out. Very good decision by the looks of it. And now setting up as the fake out entry. Oh, fuck me. This is busy. Uh, okay, so again, this is potentially setting up here for the fake out. Oh, like kind of a frustrating day, but mental capital wise, feel really good still, actually. Kind of weird. Quite a difference it makes, right? Just cutting your losers or even cutting trades before they become losers makes a huge difference mental capital wise. Again, we're watching the little fake out here. One. All right, guys, we've tried again. 334 entry price, stop loss 330. All right, just got stopped again. Minus 150. Or minus 210, sorry. No, up down. Okay, here's your potential fake out again. All right, guys, I'm back in 724. Stop loss 720. Just give myself an extra little buffer. It's so tight. Hey, it's gotta push, gotta push. Don't like that rejection again. I got stopped out. Taking so many like just $255 losses, so many $175 wins. Oh, it's kind of a dumb day. Gotta be kidding me. Just a little scalper's paradise here today. Because everything's just such small moves. Everything's little baby moves. Little baby wins, little baby losses, little baby wins, little baby losses. My biggest loss here today is $320. My biggest win here today is 480. Everything else is like between minus 275 and plus 175. kind of ridiculous, actually. A little bit of like death by a billion paper cuts type. Just one trade away, one trade away. Probably want it there. You guys, I'm back in 727.50. Stop loss 722. $727.50. Three contracts. Kind of debating just taking this and running. Ooh. Okay, give me a strong close here. I don't know if that's it. Okay, give me a pop. Give me a pop. Okay, push, push, push. Love to see it get over 40. I'll speak it into existence, Michael. Let's go. Keep pushing here. Keep pushing. All right. This thing feels like it's stalling out maybe a little bit here. We got one more pop in it here. Come on. Okay, push, push, push. Anyone in this with me here? This work, Jen. Okay, I'm thinking a little bit about closing here, team, a little bit. 2 out of 3 candles, so it's okay. But I'm just so scared that the move is going to stop. There's a little bit of a paranoia there, I would say. Let's even get over 50 and turn that into a catalyst here. We are in good shape post that trade. I probably should write this down on my screen here. Sorry, I've been a little bit sloppy today. Yeah, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit of it too. The 50 spot would be a very obvious place for it to fail and reject. But I don't have a ton of reasons to get out yet, at least not from a technical perspective. That's $1,500. Hard to not accept that. All right, let's keep pushing here. Keep pushing. Kind of debating a pyramid here, to be honest, team. And then pushing stop loss to be like 744-ish. Okay, that's been done. Stop loss now, 744. Stop loss now, 744. Average price is now 37. So that's my stop, guys, right? That's my stop. And it's protecting, right? It's protecting. My ad price was $752.25. And that's got 6 total contracts now. So I'd be careful at like starting a position when I'm pyramiding into one, right? The only reason I'm willing to pyramid is because it's a math equation where I can be protecting my average price with my stop loss, right? I'm able to do it in a scenario where I have literally zero risk. So there's a little bit of a difference there, right? A little bit of a difference. Right? So pyramiding from like an execution perspective, it's only a math equation, right? It happens because of not enough separation. We've established new support that I can be literally risk free. I can basically build up a lottery ticket while having still a net green day. That means, right, that it's not having the same confirmation requirements. It's not the same independent setup trigger as any individual trade. And so I would be very, very cautious, right, starting a position on a place where I've pyramided, because it is not the same level of analysis, right? It's a different structure to get there. You missed a move, don't chase it. Tough shit. All right, see if we got one more decent pop in us above 60. Then I can look, just take this and run. Yeah, and and when the thought came into my head, Brian, there was like a little bit of all right, here we go again. Let's see if this thing still got some legs here for us. We're in pretty good shape now. Okay, so watching this carefully here, trying to think about maybe a little bit of an exit time. So close, come on. Come on, one more good pop here. One more good pop through high a day. How's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling okay? I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing someone's one-on-one here. Kind of deep into overtime today. This has a chance, guys. This has a nice chance to be an absolute monster. Hey, keep pushing, baby. Keep pushing. There's 3K. All right, guys, I'm out. I gotta take 3,000. I gotta take a 3K win. I can't give that up. Beautiful. All out. Exit price here 766.25. All out 766.25. Pretty good risk reward there, guys. We're risking 5 points to make like 40. Pretty good. So, bit of a frustrating morning because they had to take a lot of shots to get there eventually. But I will take that all day long. I will take that all day long. And we literally kept ourselves in the game because we kept our losers really small. We didn't allow our trades to go green to red or green to red significantly. And we just stacked up information until we could get separation. So worth it. And we closed this, right? Twofold. One, win too big to ignore. And fake out above high a day, right? So those were our two catalysts. But you're able to take advantage of it, yay? So those of you who took that trade, you guys green on the day? I think even without the pyramid should have been. Good work, Jen. Let's go. Which prop are you with? Nice work, Mark. So it depends on which one you're with, right, JS? Not every company has a consistency rule, and not every company has a consistency rule once you're live either. The only real restriction that you're gonna have with Top Step, right? Top Step, you just have to, you can't pass your eval in 1 day. So they've effectively a 50% consistency rule. But this wouldn't exceed those limits there. Yeah, no, well, no reason to be anxious, Tony, right? I mean, you saw the full spectrum of chaos here today. Win rate not fantastic, but it's a super green day. Took a lot of small little losses. We're walking away green. I got no complaints. So not a bad day here today, team. Made back for all of Thursday's pain too. A lot of trades though. Holy fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got him. Jesus Christ. 16 trades today. That's a lot. That's a lot for sure. But I want to stress, right, that a lot of them are 2 points risk, right? 3 points risk, like really, really tight. Either green right away, red right away. And I think, I mean, I'm still a bit of a grumpy prick. And I think I did a pretty reasonable job here of protecting mental capital. And I should have held on. Fuck. What do you mean, John? Do show my entry. I literally tell you what it's going to be before it happens. I'm not quite sure. The issue, right, is with prop firms. So let's show you. You're asking me to basically do my order window in front of you, right? Hold your hand, suck you off, do the whole 9 yards. Not really appealing. But what it does, right, is it prevents my ability to be able to execute trades there on multiple windows. So I don't appreciate your statement. I do show that. Look at this blue line, man. Anyway, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with you. I have no interest in that. I would ask you to review the resources. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my morning. So have yourselves a great day, team, and I'll